Environmentalists will often give you the big eyes if they see you driving in a large luxury SUV. After all, these SUVs are notorious for a large carbon footprint. However, there is a new car maker in the market now, and in their lineup, there is a car that promises to be friendlier to the planet. Welcome the Lexus RX450h. The RX was one of the early adopters of the luxury crossover body style when it debuted back in 1998. The model that you see here was born in 2015 and is the fourth generation of that lineage. In the first glance, it looks like the kind that only its mother will like. Take a longer look at it though, and you might fall for its radical appearance. I like it. Compared to its predecessors, this one has a busier design, but the prominent creases and the angular panels give it a sharper appearance than its stablemates. Taking center stage is the polarizing spindle grille, which will now be a design trait that will be common to all Lexus models. The headlights look smart with the three-pot layout for the LED headlamps and the L-shaped LED DRLs. In fact, L-shaped motifs are peppered all around the car, from the chrome garnish to the detailing of the lighting elements. The tail section lacks a bit of flair when compared to the front. The side profile is the most dashing angle for this car, with a floating effect for the coupe-like roofline and the sharply raked rear windshield, which gives the RX its distinctive shape. The appearance is dynamic to say the least and is sure to turn more heads than the F-Pace or the Cayenne. At 4.9 meters in length, it is quite a large car too, but the sharp design makes it appear compact than what it is. The doors are large and the floor isn't too high despite the large wheels, and therefore getting in and out is easy. Step in and you will be welcomed by a rather sober-looking cabin than what the radical exterior would suggest. Grabbing your attention straight up is the large 12.3-inch infotainment screen, which sticks out from the top of a multi-layered dashboard fascia. The infotainment interface is controlled using a joystick that acts as a pointing device. The software isn't laggy, but the interface could have been crisper. It even lacks satellite navigation and smartphone interfaces like Apple CarPlay, and that's a downer. Its trump card though is a 15-speaker Mark Levinson audio unit, which is on par with some of the best audio systems in the business. The center console appears cluttered, but all the switches fall easily at hand. Additional luxury features include a 3-zone climate control, a panoramic sunroof, heated and cooled seats, a heated steering wheel, and a heads-up display that is easy to read and is one of the largest in the category. The car you see here is the luxury trim, and Lexus also offers a sportier trim called the F Sport. The F Sport gets drilled metal pedals, a different instrumentation, sporty seats, and sportier upholstery options. While both the front seats are 10-way adjustable in the luxury trim, in the F Sport you only have an 8-way adjustment, and that too for the driver's seat. Compared to the luxury trim, the darker colors for the plastics in the F Sport trim also make them appear less plasticky, while the aluminum inlays add more flair. The design of the rear seats is common to both the trims, and the lack of a transmission tunnel means that you have a flat floor and 3 adults can sit abreast. Space and comfort are decent for this class, and the rear seats can also be adjusted for reach and recline. Now Lexus have a very innovative way of opening the tailgate. So consider this, you come to the boot with a lot of stuff in your hand, so obviously you need a hands-free operation for the boot. So what you do is take your elbow close to the logo. That first beep will tell you it's unlocked, and then it will open.
This opened because the car was on.
Okay, so that is how it works. Frankly, I have seen better systems in cheaper cars as well, which is truly a hands-free operation. I don't have to keep elbowing the car to do this, but it's a nice feature to have. It's a good party trick. The only grudge is the tailgate takes a lot of time to open and close. Apart from that, I think it's a good feature to have. Speaking of the boot, the space isn't very generous. The compulsory spare wheel, which is a full size in this case, creates a bump in the boot floor, so a flat floor for storage isn't possible. This too is common to both the trims. On the exteriors though, the F Sport trim looks a lot more dynamic with its different bumpers and an even more outrageous grille. It is certainly the better looking one of the two in my eyes, and that's the one I got behind the wheel of. It's astonishing how silent the cabin of this car is. Of course, I'm driving in Ooty. It's a silent place in itself, hardly any traffic on the roads. So the story could be a little different for this cabin when it comes back into the metros, but it's very silent. So silent, in fact, that I'm wishing that this had some sort of an autonomous driving technology where the car would drive on its own and I could just sleep off. The soft leather even contributes further to that effect. The wind insulation, the road noise insulation, the insulation of the drivetrain, it's just perfect. Now this is the F Sport, so it does create a bit of extra synthesized engine sounds. But when you are in the pure EV mode or when you're driving at really slow speeds, it's spookishly quiet in here. That, after all, is the intent of this SUV, taking you around in silence and luxury, though the exterior design could suggest otherwise. The idea of this car is not to go around carving new lap times around the Nürburgring or go gung-ho around the twisties. It's got a very laid-back nature, and that supple ride, the balance of the suspension, the way the drivetrain behaves, everything sort of contributes to that effect. But the McPherson strut and the trailing arm double wishbone that it is suspended from makes the RX quite a smooth car even on harsh roads. The suspension is a tad bit noisy though. The 18-inch wheels also play an important role in providing a smooth ride. Motivation for the RX450h comes via a hybrid setup that consists of a 3.5-litre petrol motor that is mated to an electric motor generator. The total system output is a little over 310 PS. And guess what? It's quite brisk with a 0 to 100 time of 7.7 seconds. That is quite impressive for this heavyweight, but frankly, that doesn't translate to a sprightly performance on the road. The pull feels lethargic for a 300 PS output, no matter what driving mode you choose. The RX450h comes with 5 driving modes to choose from. You have Eco, self-explanatory as always. It will make sure that the drivetrain behaves in a more sober manner to get the best possible fuel economy. You also have the normal mode, which is ideally suited for urban driving. It will try to maintain a nice balance between an economical drive and convenient city use. You have the sporty modes, the Sport and the Sport Plus. As the names explain it, it will make sure that the engine has a sharper, more sportier response. So does the gearbox. The steering also weighs up nicely. The suspension becomes slightly stiffer to give you a relatively more flatter ride through the corners. And then you also have a customizable mode where you can set all individual parameters for the way the engine behaves, the suspension behaves, the steering behaves. But I think for most of the drive during our test, the normal was the most ideal suited mode because one, the engine and the drivetrain remained really silent like I said in the beginning, and I think it just achieved a very nice balance for driving around even in these twisties considering how slow we have to drive. The real advantage of the hybrid powertrain is the low CO2 emissions and healthy fuel savings. Lexus claims an ARAI certified figure of 18.8 kilometers to a litre for the hybrid drivetrain, which is phenomenal if you compare it to the dirty diesels. The RX450h also employs a 4-wheel drive system for better grip and better safety. Now, unlike other 4-wheel drive systems, this is an electronic unit. So what it does is, it uses the front motor to power the front wheels and the electric motor to power the rear wheels. Now, it isn't an always-on 4-wheel drive system. It's only when the computers detect any sort of slip or if they feel that the car needs better grip, that is when the rear wheels are powered and in turn give you better grip. Everything feels nice and premium inside this car. Everything's very well built. But there are a few shortcomings, a few niggles that I will point out. For example, it's a Japanese car. I expected the indicator stalk to be on the right side. It's not. It's on the wrong side. More American than Japanese in that sense. Also, I absolutely hate this interface for using the infotainment system. This mouse-like device just isn't as intuitive as a rotary dial or a touchpad. The cursor is too sensitive even at its lowest setting, and that makes it difficult to make a selection without concentrating on the screen. Having to take your eyes off the road to use it makes it unsafe. Speaking of safety, the RX450h comes with up to 10 airbags. The frontal airbags are shaped such that they spread the impact around the shoulders and the abdomen instead of the face and the chest to further reduce impact injury. Other safety features include anti-lock brakes, hill hold, and vehicle stability control. The RX line has been awarded a 5-star Euro NCAP rating and 79% pedestrian safety despite the butch front end. The RX450h then comes across as a stylish luxury crossover that has impeccable build quality that the Lexus brand is famous for. Its biggest challenge lies in striking a chord with the audience that doesn't look beyond the European luxury brands, but Lexus seems positive that they will be able to make the breakthrough. The RX450h comes with a standard 3-year or 1 lakh kilometer warranty and an optional 2 years and 50,000 kilometers extension. Like the other Lexus models, the RX450h will find service support throughout Toyota's Indian network. Well, there's nothing quite like the RX450h in terms of its appearance and in terms of its drivetrain. Of course, this exclusivity does come with a hefty price tag, but then it's a small premium to pay for the guilt-free pass that you get to drive around without worrying about melting the ice caps.